Welcome to the Natural Genius podcast. We're here to help you tap into your natural genius. Let's go. It's such a delight to bring you Michelle in conversation. She's inspiring. She has an amazing lifestyle, living partly in Australia, travelling the world, remotely working, inspiring so many, and constantly being open to learning new things and communicating so impressively and maturely. She is a grandmother, she is a daughter, she is a mother, and a very beautiful friend. Here we go. Enjoy hearing from Michelle. Michelle, welcome to the Natural Genius podcast.
Oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, I think this is so fun because we became friends last year, but we have known each other for a long, long time through our mutual friend. And I wanted to start out with a bold one for you, Michelle. I wanted to know, how do you come to be so emotionally wise and strong, which is how I see you?
Oh, thank you. That's a lovely question. I think it's just through lots of years of experience of life and the journey I've been on, and trying to get to a really peaceful place within myself. And that probably makes me think of all different ways of managing and being able to handle something. And then, and just out of experience, I think the wisdom comes for sure.
Yeah, oh gosh, and you have so much experience both from businesses, life, and different chapters of both, and close family and friends. And tell me about the more recent business setup and what drove you to be one.
Oh, okay. So it was about 2010, and I was perimenopausal and in a really high, stressful job, in a relationship that was probably not going anywhere really and had come to the end of its rainbow. And I'd taken a trip to Bali to visit my nieces, who are actually half Balinese, and found there was something peaceful about that place and healing about it that I felt like I needed. So I went back and decided that I need to be there somehow. So I managed and juggled money around, I gave 8 weeks notice to my job and decided that I was going to go over and try and set up a business there, or just do something for 6 months. So I went over and everything fell into place. So I connected with all the right people. I've had a great support with different people there, and went into big partnership and business with them. And the business just tended to grow. And I also found myself there and went through menopause. Obviously, very exposed to a lot of healing options there, which made life a lot easier. And I managed to get through setting up a business in a non-English or an English-speaking country, but not a language that I speak. Today it's still running, and we managed to get through COVID. And I employ 15 people there, and it's wonderful. Yeah, I'm really proud of it, and it's doing really well. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And Bali, we've both got a love for Bali, and you would know it very well from having lived there and been in and out of there. And you also managed to remotely work, Michelle. So you enjoy being able to run a business and be in all different places in the world and experience different geographical locations.
Yeah. I think where it probably started to pivot was back in 2019. And unfortunately, my husband passed away in Bali in December from a heart attack. So my life really pivoted from that. I came back to Australia to do like the ceremony and his burial, and it kept me here until what I thought I was going to go back March the 14th, 2020. However, COVID had other ideas, and I ended up staying here in Australia, and so having to manage the business remotely became criteria. But however, fortunately, through that first 2-year period, business was quite slow. There was still an expat community in Bali that kept the business alive. The staff worked half their time. They got paid half their salaries, and we managed to get through it. So working remotely became the way that I needed to do it. So yeah, so that was good.
Oh, the silver lining. You're so good at being able to spot the silver lining. I think, Michelle, you just assume that it's always there.
Well, I like to find it, because then it just realigns with the peace that you need to feel. Because I think when you've lived in survival mode for quite a while, which it's really taxing on your whole system, really. So I really learnt to, I think more so after when Brad passed away, after that, finding that inner peaceful place, it was really, really important. Yeah, so it actually meant that to let go of a lot of people, family, and whatever that weren't adding to my peace, and just to get people that complemented my life, not complicated my life.
And you mentioned, I'm getting my words all muddled. You mentioned menopause. There we go.
Yeah.
And do you think that shedding process is part of that as well, Michelle, or was for you at least?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I think it. I'm finding actually, and it's really interesting observing some of my friends who, or for whatever reason, people like come across who haven't actually dealt with other stuff in their life, and then when they hit menopause, whoa, it really knocks you around, So, and some people don't have any side effects from it at all, fortunately. But yeah, it certainly hit me, and I was really fortunate to go through it while I was living in Bali, and I fortunately had home, like, staff that were looking after my home, so I never had to worry about cleaning, washing, ironing, or anything like that. I had the stress of the business, but I was still able to come home and sleep whenever I needed to. If I had a day that I wasn't feeling like I can do this, I was able to manage it how I needed to. But I was also available to a fantastic naturopath in Bali. She's a German woman, and she's actually a GP and a naturopath, which is how they're trained from Germany. She was fantastic in it, how she helped me get through it with live blood analysis and infusions with all different vitamins that I was missing and needed, and felt clarity. God, yeah, it was great. It was really nice. And I'm sure there's people in Australia that do it, but I wasn't able to actually access that while I was here.
And great food as well, Michelle, assumedly.
Oh, God. Yeah, and that's such an important aspect, I think, is your food. Like, that's such a healer as well. And as we've known, and I've participated in Ayurvedic panchakamas in Bali for 28 days, and that was actually another amazing reset for my nervous system. So I think when you realise you've been in survival mode, it actually really does take a lot out of you, and how you manage things as well.
Yeah.
And then realizing you don't need to be in it anymore is a really crucial part of your own, I think, maturity as well.
Oh, well said. And tell me, you're an amazing communicator. I would say you're a very mature communicator, and one of the things that I admire amongst many of you, Michelle, is the maturity and the understanding, compassion towards different cultures. Like, you just seem to be able to communicate respectfully to anyone, and when I'm around. So tell me, through remote working, through running a business, being a woman, being able to communicate well, what sort of tips do you find yourself saying to people regularly?
That's interesting. I found it's really interesting. So working in Indonesia, that obviously the culture's different. So there's, in terms of, if they're embarrassed, they laugh. So you can sometimes go, why are you laughing? This is really serious, you know. However, yeah, and obviously, and also one of the things with them is within, I'm only going to speak in terms of Indonesia, but is using only words that they associate with. So, for instance, I was moving from from my office to another, to a storage area. And I'd said to one of my staff members, oh, there's room up the top. He looked at me really quizzically. He's like, I don't know what you mean by, is there a room at the top? Like, his visual idea of a room up the top was an actual room. But I'm meaning there's actually space at the top. So it's actually making sure you use the right words that they interpret and understand, because it can go very pear-shaped if you don't actually use the right terminology. So
and is Bahasa Indonesia, is there less words in that language than there is in the English language?
Definitely. And sometimes those words can mean 2 or 3 different things. For instance, when you're talking about the time, the word jam, G-A-M, or jam, and that can mean a lot of that can apply to a lot of other different things in terms of time as well. So, yeah, so it's quite interesting. And I'd love to say I'm fluent in Bahasa, but I'm not. And depending on where you put the word in the sentence, it has what the relevance is in the conversation. So, yeah.
Amazing. And tell me about business tips, Michelle. If you were talking to somebody starting out their business, what sort of things do you find it important to mention?
Surround yourself with the people that you align with in terms of your supporters and financial supporters, and just and people that you have similar values to. I think that's really important. And that means in terms of financial values and ethical values as well. And I've been really fortunate that that's come my way all the way through my 16 years of doing business in Indonesia, and also to surround yourself with the staff who align themselves with your thinking as well. And I'm so grateful. One of the things that makes my business work is that I have staff that are Hindu, Muslim, and Christian. Their holidays are quite different. Are different, obviously. So that there's all the Hindu holidays. So that means that when all my Hindu staff are on holidays, I still have my Muslim staff and Christian staff working, and vice versa. So that works out really well. And what happens is they come from all different islands throughout Indonesia. And so that where they work together and they spend a lot of their time, they tend to create a family out of the people that they work with. So I'm really fortunate that I have a really close-knit group of people. They have their differences, and sometimes I have to be the referee with a few things, but it always seems to manage and work out. I pay them well. Their hospital covers looked after. Their money goes into the same as like a superannuation for us, which you have to legally do. And then if there's any issues that come up family-wise where they need time off, that just happens regardless, and the other people pick up the slack. Obviously, they're financially benefit from it because they're doing extra work, and if it happens to them, then they're able to time off, and they don't lose income from it either. So they're able to look after their families as well. So it encompasses everyone, not just the people who the office, but it's also their wives and or their husbands and their children, and so it's worked out really well.
Oh, you've got so much to be proud of, Michelle.
I'm very fortunate that I've attracted all the right people in. There's been some people that aren't, and they generally don't last long. They end up leaving quite quickly.
Yeah.
because whatever they've done that's doesn't work within the culture of our company, it shines out like a big light, and usually they're so uncomfortable about it they leave.
Yeah.
So fine. Yeah.
Well, I'm so pleased for you as a business owner and for the team when you're not there that you have this sense of family and closeness, because that I assume that means for you, you can feel like everything's running smoothly. And also when you come into it, you can feel this sense of closeness or respect.
Yeah, very much so. I think because I felt like I was in flight mode or survival mode all the time, I should say. So there tends to be this urgency that you always feel like you have to premeditate or just keep planning so that it avoids any future disasters. And I think I've done all of that. I put things in place, and I think they've probably learnt from how I've wanted it to be managed. So the structure becomes and then I get phone calls or messages on WhatsApp. Oh, Miss, what do you think about this happening or that happening? Because they know it's in line with how I want things managed. So yeah, so it works out well.
Yeah, wow. WhatsApp through Asia, it's amazing, isn't it? To be able to do
Yeah,
business through that rather than email. Well, as well
yeah.
as email, sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does have its slight issues where they like to do one sentence and send it. Not so your phone goes ping, 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 ping. Like, oh, what the hell's going on? Not just how we put one question into one message and then send it off. So, and sometimes in actual fact, it's probably easier because you can go back and answer each individual thing as it's come through. So so
Yeah,
it's quite
I must admit with different clients and different people I do that. It's put separate
yeah,
messages together so that they can reply that way, like even if it's a thumbs up on different aspects of the question.
yeah,
And I do notice in younger generations sometimes that's what happens too.
yeah,
And also a lot of the time for me with my systems, I've got notifications turned off, like it's all on silent. So I
oh,
sort of get them all in one block, but we all manage things differently.
mm,
And so what about tips around remote working? How do you time box, say you're in Croatia or somewhere fabulous, do you sort of go, okay, I've got 2 hours that I need to get certain things done, or do you work once a week, or how do you set it up
yeah.
so that you can keep progress
Oh,
happening?
yeah. Actually, I'm really fortunate in that these days all I need to really approve is bank transfers, which are quite set up. So we've got a lot of stuff on Google that I can on Google Sheets, so I can log in and see on a minute to minute basis how everything's going. So that really explains a lot. Plus, I'm copied in on all the emails, and so that sort of thing. So I can see who's responded and who's what they're getting back to, and and who's contacted us for to get quotes and things like that, and that they've responded. So that works out really well. And also there's WhatsApp groups in our business, so that actually keeps me up to date with what's going on as well. So we have probably a couple of times a year we'll have like big Zoom meetings, and then I'm finding now that I need to go back a little bit more for design meetings. It makes a big difference just being in the office and getting stuff done that way. So yeah, so I actually made a decision last night that I'm actually going to go back for 5 days on the 29th of March because I've got some stuff to do. I have an investor who always invests in when we've got new projects going, and he's actually going to be in Bali, and I need to do a little bit of stuff while I'm there financially, and it's probably better if I'm there. And we're about to sign to have a 3-story building, purpose-built building made for us, so I need to go back and work on that. So yeah, so it just feels fair to be there to do it rather than doing it remotely.
Oh, fantastic. And that'll be in the tail end of a beautiful European trip, of course, and yeah, in
Yeah.
African as well. Hey, tell me, so I wonder, in what you're just saying, it makes me remember that we're probably at the tail end of you having set up some really great systems to be able to communicate or talk to the ease of your business and the way that you're involved these days. Do you think you're naturally a systems thinker and a like process optimizer so that you can make the business set up so that you don't need to be there?
Yeah, definitely. I think my home's probably like a bit like that. I like to forward think how to put things in place, as you probably noticed. Just so things are easy, simple, easy to find, so that if someone did come into my house, that they're, oh, okay, and it's logical where things are, and how to find them. Most stuff's labelled, even in my wardrobe. My bins are labelled, so I know where to find everything. Must be the liver part of me, I think. But yeah, no, I like being organised. It's really important. So I remember seeing something. I was helping a friend do some stuff on about his farm, and a message came up that failing to plan is planning to fail. And I tend to keep that as a, forward thinking and having it all planned out to just reduce the stress levels at the time. And I think also probably was a bit fastidious about making sure I planned everything to the second or the minute. I think now I'm more at a place where plan it, but also know that things can get sorted out if they don't work out. It's not the end of the world. I think that's also make sure you put things in place. So if it's a travel situation, well, you make sure you've got really good travel insurance that covers all those things. And if you want to ride a motorbike overseas, you make sure you've got the right license and the correct insurance policy to cover those things. If you're going to do things outside and with outside the box, make sure that you do everything, tick all the boxes so that there's not going to be a disaster after that you hadn't, unless it comes up you hadn't considered. Well, then that's just part of life's journey, isn't it? It's a lesson learned. Hopefully not too big a one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what you've described, there's many aspects you've just described, and I actually think sometimes that the organising you describe can help people do it themselves. So that if you have things labelled or you have things in certain locations and there's a logic to it, then people can come in and help themselves and progress can keep happening. So it's interesting the way you talk about it. And also what I've observed in, I'm going to use an umbrella term, like in spiritual circles or in places where people have they might have done personal growth stuff, or it might be a kind of religious environment. It's almost like everything is clean and everything is in its rightful place. And I wonder if that consistency in different places like that is so that it is ready for, as a clean slate, ready to go. New things.
Yeah, true. And also, one of the things actually that just came to mind was I think making things really simple and easy also empowers other people to take those things on. So, for instance, on the Google Sheets, that Excel document that I had, I mean, we still do things quite manually. The Excel document that I had was one that I always used. So I handed that over to the lady who looks after all the administration in the office. She manages that, and everyone else puts all their information onto it. So I just need to look at that one sheet and I know where we are at on a day-to-day basis, everything. So, and that looks back in the history of everything. So yeah, it works out really well. And it's simple, it's not complicated. We're not paying for online accounting programs and stuff like that. I mean, we do have an accountant, of course, and that's done through someone who, someone locally. But yes, it's just for that communication and the free flow of the business, it was just really important to make it simple.
Tell me more about empowering others, Michelle. Do you think it's a core belief of yours, or something drives you to be able to do that?
Yeah.
Tell me some more about that.
Yeah, definitely. I actually yeah, it's really important actually for me to see that and to see where my staff have gone. Yeah, on different levels, like oh, actually it's a bit of a sad story, but it has a really good outcome. One of the guys who worked for me, and he worked as a consultant doing all the IT stuff. And a couple of years ago, he was looking not the best and had actually lost quite a lot of weight. Anyway, he went and got tested and he ended up having HIV. So it was pretty awful actually, because it was on the tail end, or not that long after Brad had passed away. And he was talking in terms of how to manage his death, and his family in Jakarta weren't aware of that he was gay, and it was pretty awful. And all I could think of was, how do I keep this man alive? He's a precious human being, He's a gorgeous man and has really been an integral part of, the business as well. So we worked out how much it would cost for him to keep paying for his sister to go to school back in Java, the money he was sending for his mum to support her, so that he could also eat healthy and also put a roof over his head and pay for any medications. And we worked out how much it was going to cost, it was nothing in relation to what life would cost. So we maintained an agreement that I would keep paying him. He would do whatever he could whenever he could, and he got through it, and he's healed and he's in a really healthy place, and he works consistently for me, and he's part of the group, he's part of our company family as well. So but I would hope that empowered him, and it's given him value as well, because life is quite cheap, unfortunately, in Indonesia, because of population culturally as well. So I think that he feels valued, and he's in a really good place, and we still have him, which is even better.
Oh, Michelle, and you're not doing it necessarily for word of mouth, but assumedly word of mouth would have gone through different people around that.
Yeah, well, it is really nice, because not all of them, but all the staff have tended to have something happen with their family, like we all do. That doesn't just pertain to these people, but there's, I think time off and just knowing they're supported. I think that's a really important. If I can do that and help people feel supported, then I think that if that's just one gift I can give, I think that's a really important, and it ticks the box of feeling that someone values me, because I think that's really important.
If something in this conversation lit you up, there's a signal in that. If you want help tuning your own signal into a clear next move, start with a 3-minute signal check-in at naturalgenius.com.au. And if you want focused support, book a signal lab and we'll work through it together. Now back to the Natural Genius. I am really impressed of you being a female businesswoman that can remotely work and be in all different places. Tell me, is there a female aspect? Like, are you extra proud of yourself as a female, or is there anything around that, or are you just proud of yourself as an individual?
Actually, don't try to see myself as being too gender specific. I think it had its cultural problems at first when I did start setting up in Bali, and I suppose now, because things have changed, because I was a female, there was a lot of times when the main guy who works for me, I would get him to go and do stuff. There has been different issues with it, and that was because of culturally, but I don't see it because I'm a female. That I've always worked in national sales and marketing manager roles, and worked in very male-oriented businesses, and chose to be successful. I think I chose to know more than the men who I worked with did. So I tended to get the respect of going, oh, okay, actually, she knows what she's talking about. So without having to bear a strong feminist role, it's just understanding what I was there for and doing the very best I could with what my role was. And
Yes.
and to work.
Yeah, I love that you said it that way, because I've always said I don't necessarily feel like a feminist, but sometimes being female can, in my career, it has gotten in the way a little bit, and I've had to do some managing around that, like you're describing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so interesting.
Mm.
And what other tips could you give around business, Michelle, whether it's in Australia or Bali or anywhere else? What do you think works well? I love that you talked about having this values alignment and the respect for individuals. I think you strike me as somebody who's quite objective, like you, objective and compassionate. So, is there anything else that comes to mind that would help others?
I'm thinking it's to do something that you feel really strongly about, that you feel passionate about. And I think it all falls into place. There was actually a song that I listened to once. I can't even remember how it came about, and she said she just had to jump off the edge, and it's actually how I felt. It's like, if you've got to jump off the edge and know that something's going to come up to meet you, just to have faith. If you're working from the right place, and it comes from all the right things, that the ground comes up to meet you somewhere. Where it is, I don't know, in whatever part of you're on, but it actually does find you, and you end up running off like like, I think, Mario Kart,
I love that. And tell me about travel, darling. What are you? Tell me about some favourite places and some sights or experiences that you've had, because there's how many countries are you up to now?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't counted, but I'm so blessed because you and I both have this beautiful mutual friend, and she's just my best travel buddy. So every second year we seem to be able to go on this fantastic big adventure, and we're about to go on one this year, which will be really good. And yeah, so in terms of, I forgot your question. Sorry.
Oh, just the favourite places. But actually, as you were sort of wondering what the question was, I was thinking that it was a joy to hear your excitement around Lisbon and Morocco, and being in different places this year, and Malta and Scotland. It just, I mean, what a joy to be planning a trip like that and to revel in it when you're there with Kim.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. Plus, I get to catch up with people who I have connections with in the UK and through Europe as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's interesting how the universe works, because I actually thought, I'm just going to go free range at the end of this. Kim's going to head back to Australia. So I just want to see where it all plans out. So and then one of my girlfriends who lives in the UK, she's actually conducting a women's retreat on women's sexuality. And I thought, I've always wanted to do one of her retreats. So it ends up being in September. So I can tag that on the end. So I'm really looking forward to going to that. And then I'm going, and then I'll probably head back to Bali on the way back home. So, and just checking that everything's okay. So I'm really looking forward to it this year.
Yeah, and just leaving things open is such a great practice, because for you it's 5 months or so away, or 6 months away. So leaving the tail end open for other things to come in is impressive. Yeah. It's not always that comfortable. And so what about like the most amazing places that you've been, or things that you've eaten, or sites that you've seen? I bet you've got a long list.
Yeah, I have actually. It's interesting because I am really looking for this trip and looking forward to going back to Seville, to be honest, because there was this place where I went to last time and I'd stayed in a home exchange, and the lady had actually said, oh, up around the corner is this really nice place that they have the most beautiful tapas at. I was like, oh, okay. So I went in, I was with my husband at the time. So we went in, sat down, had this. I said to the waiter, just send me what is the most popular dish that people come in and order. And I can't even remember what you would call it or what it was, but it was the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. And I'm like, I'm going back there this time when I go to Seville. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So,
oh my God, I want to hear more. I'm going to tell you two stories. One is every time I used to go through London, which was much more often when I was before the pandemic, I would go to this beautiful place. I think it was in Soho in London called Ceviche, and I would just have that. And then also, where else was it? So Mum and I one time went walking through Tuscany, you know, one of those trips where they pick up your bags at the start of the day and you go off walking, and then you walk to the next place that you're staying and your bags are there. And it was just marvelous. And I remember being in a tiny town in Tuscany and having like pasta, like buffalo ragu kind of pasta, and it was just extraordinary. And I like the moments like you're just describing with the tapas and going back to the place in Seville. They're just such twinklingly beautiful memories, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And they're one other aspect of the experience for sure. Yeah, apart from how things made you feel at the time. And that's actually just diverting. That's another thing. I think that's one of the other things that I've started to learn and be aware of is how am I feeling? Like, how is my nervous system feeling about this? How is my body feeling about this? How is my mind feeling about this? And is it feeling okay about it? You know, and so that can be another really good indication of am I on the right path in this journey or am I not? You know, so that's always been that's actually started to be another question I ask when I'm working out, am I, you know, I suppose it's adding to that wisdom part of me is like, how am I feeling about this? And it's a gut feeling in a lot of cases as well. So, yeah. So, but going back to the travel bit, so I wanted to say that there's the first part of this holiday was going to be lots of adventure in new places in terms of Morocco at the end of it. And then going to Ireland, I have Irish heritage as well. So it's quite interesting. I've been there once before, quite a while ago, but found it really interesting to associate with some things and not quite realising why or how that I do. And then after that, we're going to Malta to meet my daughter and her family, and because that's actually the other part of my heritage as well is Maltese, and that's another part of that I can associate so much of, like being at my grandparents in Paddington, but being with all these people that sound like my grandparents, you know. So it actually was like the missing jigsaw puzzle piece when I first went there, because when you're born into a different cultured family, you just accept that that's the way it is.
Yes.
But when you go to that country of origin, you're like, aha, now I get it. Now I get why there's passion fruit vines over the back shed and there's canaries in the backyard and they eat prickly pear and all those sorts of things that come with the Maltese culture as well. So, yeah.
What a joy to hear you say that, Michelle.
Yeah. And then we head to Scotland after that, and catching up with a lady that I met at Wimbledon last year, and then spending time with a girlfriend of mine who actually is coming down from Poland to meet us and experiencing the Fringe Festival. So in Scotland, Edinburgh. So it's going to be really fascinating.
And have you
looking forward
that with your travels, like gone to a concert, like designed the dates around concerts or around festivals, or is that something more recent?
Yeah, well, the Fringe Festival was sort of one of the things I wanted to end on. And I don't tend to do it overseas, but I tend to do it in Australia. I really like going to music festivals, particularly in my camper van and being able to camp out for a couple of days or whatever and get right into it. It's great. Yeah.
A fancy new van.
My fancy new van. Yeah. The Woodford Folk Festival would be one I would just absolutely love to do again. That was just an amazing experience. So, yeah. So, yeah, I do like music festivals for sure. Yeah.
Well, it's the heightened happiness. Everyone's on a
yeah, and everyone's so nice to each other, and everyone connects and hello, and it's a really nice experience. Actually, it's great.
And speaking of nice experiences, what do you love about being a grandma, a mum, and a mother-in-law?
Well, I've got to say grandma first. Like, that would bring me so much joy. I'm so fortunate. I have 6 grandchildren. 3 from my husband who passed away through me, and I'm so fortunate in that I get to share them every school holidays. They come and spend time with me, and my grandchildren, my daughter's children, my grandchildren, they all have a lovely relationship. They love spending time with each other. So we have lots of sleepovers through school holidays. But I'm very connected to my 3 grandsons, with one day each a week for the 2 youngest ones, and then the eldest one I take to tennis lessons and lots of other sporting events when we get a chance to do, because that's what he likes, and that's where I can connect with him on that level. I think the word joy comes from that I don't think you quite get from any other human being in your life apart from your grandchildren. They bring a lot of joy. Yeah.
Oh, that is divine. Having met some of your grandchildren, I can understand that. One of the joys is actually seeing them grow up and then seeing how their personalities develop. It's such a sweet thing. Tell me, is there anything else that we haven't covered, Michelle, that you would like to mention?
Oh, I just think you have to create the life you want and make it happen.
Any tips on manifesting? You're so good at it.
Yeah, actually, sometimes it gets a little bit scary, actually, because I was talking to a friend. He and I had gone to Bali for 2 weeks, and we were talking about different things. And I was like, "Oh, actually, where I live, there isn't a paddle court." But that might be because it hasn't really taken on that well in Australia. And then I started thinking, and then I was like, this is a bit dangerous, actually, because usually when you start manifesting, Michelle, something happens, And to be really honest, I feel like I've manifested my list of things that I've wanted to do. I've actually manifested, and it's happened. Probably the right life partner hasn't manifested quite yet, but
he did, and then the next one is yet to turn up.
Yeah, and it's all part of the journey, and all having amazing human beings, and men come into your life that teach you about yourself and you learn from, and leave, or where hopefully you don't, but you still connect on whatever level's meant to, that the rainbow finishes and you move on.
But a rainbow finishes and you move on. How gorgeous.
Go to find on another new rainbow to experience. So I'm getting to a point where I feel like I've manifested all the things that I needed to get to where I am now. Whether I I feel like I still need to keep manifesting, I don't know, and that's the next part of my journey. But this holiday this year is one of the big ones that I wanted to. So, and like I said, I'm so fortunate. I have Kim that's like, yeah, let's do it. And so she comes with me, and we're very yin and yang. What I'm really bad at, she's great at, and what she's bad at, I'm really good at. So we tend to balance each other out with it. So that's really good. So yeah, and so in terms of manifesting, I think you just have to be quite focused. But I also think that you have to keep in mind, as much as you sometimes want to manifest something, that it'll happen and you'll start to experience it and you'll go, oh, I never thought of that actually. I don't think I really like this part about the thing I manifested. So I should have considered this in that manifestation and not that, but that's part of life's journey too, in that you get to tweak what works for you.
And did you always manifest, Michelle, or were you a lucky kid, or
Yeah.
had you learned how to do it? Like, how did it all come to be that you would be able to be so familiar with that word and how to practice it?
Yeah, I think I probably didn't even realize when I was younger, but yeah, I think it's always been, I think I'm quite focused. So it's like, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to feel, and head towards it. So, and quite often along the line of my journey, I think I've had to I've had to let go of a lot of things because they weren't what I needed in terms of what I envisioned was what I wanted. Yeah, and whether they weren't good for me, or I know they were no longer necessary in my life. So I've actually let quite a lot of things go.
That's a lovely loop, because you were talking about that at the start of the conversation. So I think that's a nice way to end. It feels like we might have just tied up that whole conversation beautifully, Michelle. Thank you so much. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, so one of the words I'm learning at the moment is surrender. Just to let it go, to surrender it, and just see where it all goes to, and what happens with it. And that's quite an empowering feeling, process to go through too. And there's obviously trust. And when you trust yourself, you can surrender.
Oh, Michelle, I mean, these conversations I have with people, I'm always so rapt and also amazed that an hour later we've gotten people's natural genius into a video and audio. And for you, there is so much to admire and so much to be impressed by. And I'm so, so pleased that we've taken the time and that you said yes. So thanks so much for passing on the inspiring person that is you.
Oh, thank you for choosing me. But also, you've had some amazing other people. It's been wonderful listening to everyone's journey, and very inspiring as well, which is, and kudos to you for being the vessel that does this. That's great.
Oh, lots of love to you. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to the Natural Genius podcast. Please share this with anyone who came to mind, and visit us at naturalgenius.com.au. Thanks so much.